Hey, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Slapshots, Sellies, and Story Time. We're pretty excited to have Brett Corpe on. Reveloution hockey training is his business that he started. He's the he's the man behind the scenes and in the scenes, and he's a hockey trainer. So it's something that I've witnessed. My son has hopped on his previous location, and I haven't had the pleasure of jumping over to his new location now. As restrictions open up here at the time of this recording. We're excited to kind of get back into different places, and I'm gonna take my son over there and jump in and hop back onto the treadmill and kind of take a look at the new training center, which I've seen videos of, and it looks awesome. Now, some of you may not have heard of this. This is meant for those of you that are watching this on YouTube or our Rebellion. Our 10 teams and all the families in there that are receiving this directly to you. But those of you that are in Sherwood Park, I'm sure you would have heard of it or caught them on Instagram. And down below, I'll have where you can reach Brett and tune into his videos and all that he broadcasts. I've seen his blue jerseys on the ice. Sorry, the RHT jerseys, and he does a lot of great work in our community, and we thought we'd give him a little bump and kind of share him with all of you. We have families from Leduc, Stony Plain, Spruce Grove, Morinville, Vegreville and Fort Saskatchewan, and of course our home base, Sherwood Park. But we like sharing, good hockey people and good items that can help your athletes grow in their sport. There's different tools to grow, and Brett offers some important ones. So we're gonna queue up Brett here right away, and he's going to jump in and tell us a little bit about his hockey background, and then we'll move into why he started the hockey training, and then we'll go from there. So how you doing, Brett?
Good. How are you?
Good. We were chatting before. Brett spent the day doing some golfing, and he's a great golfer. He was telling me his score on his first outing. That's pretty good.
Yeah. It's the start of the year, so hopefully we get better from there and get out a lot more.
Well, yeah, your score is my score at the end of the season.
Oh.
So I don't know if I can golf with you. I'll be duffing it.
Well, I did my share of that. I got a good recovery club though.
Nice. Well, thanks for hopping on. Like I mentioned before, this is I forward these podcasts over to all the families from our 10 teams, and then also share with whoever else is watching out there. So I said, I think you have a good service there. So tell us a little bit about your background.
It's great to be here for sure. My background, I guess, I grew up small town Alberta, just kind of like everybody here that's in and around, right? So I grew up again, as I said, small town Alberta, playing hockey since I was, I guess, started skating when I was 3. Played when I was Tom Thumb. Grew up playing in Lloydminster, and then moved through minor hockey, and didn't jump into anything. Like, we were a small town, so anybody who's ever played in a small town or against small towns, there's those, the varying ranges of skill within the small town. So we were a C hockey team, and we played C hockey for the most of my my childhood growing up, and then transitioned into Bantam AA. When I reached Bantam, I played Bantam AA for the Polar Kings. So it was my first kind of jump out of Pee Wee. We kind of house league or whatever, and then jumped into AA. And then second year, I played Bantam AAA for the Chill in Stettler. So it was the East Central Chill. They're still around.
Stettler, Alberta. Yeah, that's small town.
Alberta. It was fun. I moved out when I was 15 because we were living in a small town with my parents. Yeah. So in order to play Bantam AAA hockey, I moved from small town Provost to Stettler. I lived with a Billet family there, so it was
Nice.
it was a big step at 15 years old. It was kind of, one of those eye-opening. What do you do? And
I bet.
small town. Stettler's still a small town, so it was good. It was an awesome experience. And then from 15-year-old, I was off into some WHL tryouts. I played down for Portland, not for, but with them through the tryout process, and then came back as a 16 at the time, I guess. I came back and played junior A for a little while, and then kind of got mixed in a whole lot of situations and talk about politics and hockey and tryouts. And I've been through it
Yeah.
all. Like I went
Yeah.
through three midget AAA tryouts after I was with junior A team, and they're like, well, we'd really like you to stay, but play midget AAA and go and play like multiple minutes. You're going to be here as the seventh guy, so like we'd like you to go. And that was in late October when I finally left junior. And then as a 16-year-old, I started in midget AAA, and 3 teams later I got cut. And I'm like, how do you get there? And it's a crazy transition. I was actually reminiscing with my parents about this here not too long ago. We were talking about it. Just, we have lots of time, right? So we were reminiscing about all the steps and cycles and everything they went through with me, and then ended up playing junior B as a 16-year-old. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it was a big experience. Actually, it was a big jump, playing against 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds,
I bet.
and living that. And so at 16, I then transitioned away from junior B. I made some junior A teams, and I was in Regina for a little while with the Pats, but again, that didn't pan out the way that I wanted it to. But everything has its course. So I ended up playing junior A in Estevan, and then in the SJ, and then came back through Alberta, and then I actually got traded, and then 19 years old, I was playing in southern Saskatchewan, and
Okay.
I got let go when I got traded to Fort McMurray. We had a coach fire. It was, in those days, it was an interesting, crazy time. I got injured, and through coaches transferring, changing. I left the team as an 18-year-old, and then I got a phone call from Weyburn, Saskatchewan. I got from the Weyburn Red Wings, and they said, "Hey, where are you?" Like, I'm like, I walked off or whatever, and they brought me down there, and I ended up playing on kind of like their farm team, the Assiniboia Southern Rebels, their junior B team. And so I ended up playing with Weyburn. When I got to Weyburn, I broke my foot. So
Oh, geez.
here I
Oh,
am down in southern Saskatchewan, and broken foot. And so then I actually got all better, but Weyburn was kind of done in theirs, and we went on in playoffs with Assiniboia, and we ended up winning a national title. So
nice.
junior B national title, yeah. So it was an awesome. And actually, it was funny. Like one of the guys from the team sent me the game call here last 6 months ago. He
Oh, really?
sent the whole team a game call. So I sat and listened to it here when he sent it. I'm listening to him, man, like I remember this game. Like it was
Huh.
it was awesome, and it was fun. It was one of those experiences you remember forever. But so then, yeah, at 19, I packed it in. Actually,
Yeah.
I thought this is there, just with everything that had gone on in the politics, and I don't want to say politics, but like with the changing of teams and trying out for this team and trying out for that team,
Yeah.
I kind of reached the point where I was like, man, like what am I doing here? And it's tough when you're not necessarily doing it on your own, but you're kind of doing it on your own, right? So
Yeah.
as a 19-year-old, I was cruising around junior hockey, and like not really a lot of guidance. My parents didn't have a whole great depth of knowledge in hockey and the way that it works, right? So it was interesting. Anyways, so at 19, I said, you know what, I'm gonna take a year off, and I was supposed to play with Weyburn that year, and they ended up winning the RBC.
Oh no, geez.
So who knows if you'd have been there
You
or
never
not, but
know,
that
right?
was the year they hosted the RBC and they won it. So it was one of those, dang, maybe I should have stuck with it. But
These
yeah,
are some of the kind of stories that people don't hear and don't know. I mean, you had like a lifetime of hockey just between 16 and 19, right?
yeah, I did. Yeah, it was crazy, and it's strange, you hear about guys getting traded. When I walked into my coach's office, he called me. One of my best friends, he was the goaltender, he got traded, and I was like, no, like, it's not happening, right? And I'm
Yeah.
thinking in a small mentality, and 2 weeks later, he calls me, and I was traded. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, what does that even mean? Like, so then I was traded, and
Yeah.
I wasn't like versed in that business side of the hockey, right? So it was uh it was an interesting time, just navigating all that stuff by myself, and for
Yeah, that's got to be crazy.
the
Just
most
like
part.
going from where you're moving. It's one thing when you're an NHLer getting traded, and that's even tricky uprooting a family or even
Yeah,
just. But you
just
probably,
going, right,
they have maybe an agent that helps them, with some of the logistics. But
right.
yeah,
So, but in the end of it, at 19, I met my wife. So I met Robin, and we got married the next year, and 2 years later we had our first son Mark, and here we are in Sherwood Park, and we've been here for 15 years, and it's been an awesome experience that way. So it has, you know, you talk about everything kind of happens for a reason,
yeah,
and it's been an awesome ride. And I did step away from hockey for about 2 years, where I didn't want to do a whole lot. Not
yeah,
that I got jaded by it, but it was burnout, right? You play
totally.
hockey for 4 or 5 years straight, where there's no breaks. It was from then to then, and um, it's an interesting time when you're doing it. So for about 2 or 3 years, I didn't play hockey. I didn't do a whole lot, and then you have had Mark, and I got called by a couple senior men's teams, and they were like, "Hey, like, you should come out and play." And I'm like, I don't know. And
Yeah,
I'd go out and skate with them, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't know, you should play with us." I'm like, "Well, I'll play a little bit." And then I played with my brother, and so it was fun that we got to play together on a team or whatever, and play with a bunch of friends. So
okay.
it's definitely been a ride. And then I guess, yeah, transitioning in
Yeah,
2012, I guess
where did the business start?
the business started. I, as a 16-year-old, a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, I wasn't a very good skater, and I was big, and I could play the game, but I wasn't quick. I wasn't, as the game was evolving, and even and then in 2000, and I'm gonna date myself, right? In 2002, um, the game was slowly transitioning and changing. And you look at the players that came out of that era and that group, as it was slowly starting to transition. The big scary hitting and that stuff was slowly dying,
Hmm.
and the fast game started. I mean, Crosby was prime that time, '05, right? He was an '05 player, a draft '05 anyways, right? That was the
I think
'05 year.
so, something like that. Yeah.
'03 or whatever it was. And it was just a change, and it was steadily increasing to that. And so in 2000, or when I was 16, I trained. There was two skating treadmills in Western Canada. There was one at the U of A, and there was one at the U of S. And I went to the U of S, and I trained there. It was not it was just off the U of S campus or whatever. And so I got my first taste of what it was like, and instantly it was like, wow, like, this is a lot. Like, it's a lot of resistance. It's a lot of training. You got into shape really fast. It was all about coming back into technique and really trying to formulate a stride and repeat it, right? So a muscle memory, trying to continuation of that stride and repeating it and repeating it. So, and it was easy because there was a guy 4 feet from me telling me, "Hey, you got to do this, and and correcting it constantly." So at 16, along with on ice power skating and with the treadmill work and everything, I more or less reinvented how I skated, and um, got quicker, got more of an edge, and moved on and got a little bit better into our hockey sense. So I guess that's more or less where it started. So yeah, at when we moved to Sherwood Park and we started having kids, and we're looking at the demographic and the players and the size of the organizations, and Mark started playing hockey, and so did Emery. I thought, and I said it to a small group, I'm like, this would be a really great place for a skating treadmill. This would be great for a training facility. Like, there's not one in really this area that I know of, and I didn't really know of anything. And then I think that's about that time is when another one here was started. And so it died with me, and I was like, all right, that's fine. And I was doing on ice camps, so we were doing coaching with on ice camps and whatnot. Just starting it as I guess you call it grassroots, where you're hockey, you've got a kind of a base and a skill and a depth of it now, and you want to take it to people, and you want to let people experience that as well. So sharing it is I think is the biggest part of it, not keeping it to yourself and keeping it to a close group, but like everybody should have access to this kind of a training, or to the ability to learn and get better. So yeah, started camps in about 2012, I think, is when our first hockey camps really started. And then it just kind of took off. And 3 years ago in 2017, I guess it's 4 years ago almost now, but 2017 I said to my wife Robin, I was like, I wonder if there's any skating treadmills on Kijiji. It's just out of nowhere, and I Kijiji'd it, and no joke, there's one in Edmonton. I'm like,
oh wow.
So I called the guy, and we struck a deal, and I bought the treadmill, and started out in my garage, and then just starting it small with people we knew, and just kind of, hey, if you want to do it. And you were prime example part of that. I mean, Andreas has come probably 2.5 years, almost 3 years into when I had started, and learning and everything that progressed. And now we've had over 3,500, 4,000.
Oh wow.
Like treadmill sessions. So we've put a lot of work into it. And then just recently transitioned into a building. So we've gone from small workshop groups and training to putting it into a commercial space. So we're now in a 3,400 square foot building with 2 skating treadmills, shooting lane, a stick handling area, and a gym. So it's all kind of coming together and making itself, and still running the camps in the summer. So still running through our power skating and working through it. It definitely going down that road now.
Well, that just shows like the evolution, and people getting behind you, and putting in the hours on the treadmill, and then I guess that it helps you feel comfortable enough. I'm sure it was a little scary to get.
The start of it was a little bit like, you run the treadmill and you're like, maybe I'll just put my own kid on this thing and see how it works, right? It's funny, you know what, a lot of things happen for your kids, and you do things for your kids, but when I bought the treadmill, it wasn't for my kids. It was for a business, and for running it and adding it to the camps and everything that we wanted to kind of transition and move to. So we've gone from, again, single camps to buying the treadmill and saying this is our business, this is our goal, and in doing that, having players' testimonies come back of like totally changed stride, totally changed mechanics, going from decent skater to like, where did you learn how to do this? Where have you been? How did you get to this point? Because you're one of the fastest players on our team now, and like progressing, right? There's that progression. And some players, honestly, there are some players, and I've known them in the past, and they've been on my hockey team. They're like, where did you learn how to skate? And they're like, I don't know. I know how to skate. And it's like, I didn't get that, right? I had to work for with how I could skate. And So there are players that have come that are like, oh man, you're a rough skater, and
Yeah.
they need a lot of work, and they want to work at it, right? So they work at it, they put in the hours. The treadmill does not, 80% of it. There's the correction part of it. There's putting in the time. There's your part of it, but it's a real help. It's a great tool. And yeah, it's a lot of hard work. I don't know if you've seen Andreas come off of it. He's sitting there
Yeah.
gas going,
Oh yeah.
just give me a minute. I just need
Especially when you crank up the incline and it is giver and it's like, but I mean that's great, and I love the you've had in the past some kind of Instagrams, you can see kind of progression of different players. You can see it like the video proof, and where their first time out, you have their video of their first time out, and then you can see the progression, and there's
you can see them eight, 9 times down the road, and some players pick it up a little bit quicker, and they're there and they're progressing on stride stuff, but they're also working a lot more mechanics and strength and conditioning stuff. But yeah, I have one player, her name is Whitney. A lot of people may have seen that video if they've watched and followed along, and man, she could hardly walk on the treadmill on skates. And now she's 8-9 miles an hour at incline and just going, and it took, the first one took her about, I'll be honest, it was about 16, 15 times where till she got comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, there are help mechanics. We use a bar so that they can hold on and skate, but it definitely progressed, and she had just the will to want to do it, and it was a lot of fun it's so much fun to work with them and
Totally.
work with players when they're like that, and it's I don't know if it's more rewarding for me or them or for who it is, and I love how the parents sit on the sides, and when they're watching their kids skate uphill and they got a big grin, they're like, see, haha, this is the best thing ever because you're working. It's all of it, honestly, and it's been awesome that way. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah, I've seen it firsthand, and so from, I guess, looking back at your personal hockey history, and then working with your kids, working with your students, I guess. Is there any kind of advice you can give to hockey parents? About how, whether it's related to COVID or because we're still we're still neck deep into that, or just kind of how to approach hockey development.
Yeah, COVID's been hard. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen a lot of players that they they're faced with a difficult situation because they're kids, and it's tough for them, and they get into a lot of, well, why am I going to practice when I can't even play a game? And that's hard, and that's hard as to watch as a parent, because I see it in my kids, and you've seen it in your kids, and all of our athletes, and honestly, I say to that, that's okay. That is okay. You pump, you bolster them up, you do things with them. Anytime something becomes forced, and we've seen this with anything, and if you force somebody to do something, they turn off. They turn off right away, and some people need a nudge, and you can nudge her, and I nudge my kids, and I say, hey, come on, let's get going here. You got to get doing things, and or whatever it might be, or you got to practice whatever they want to practice, whatever they want to get good at. It's like, hey, you should get up and practice. The only way you get better is your practice. So there is that nudge part of things, but if they don't want to do it, don't force them. That's what I find. I think one of the hardest days on my treadmill, I had a parent bring he was younger, I'd say 7 or 8, and he's crying on the treadmill because he doesn't want to do it. And I'm like, buddy, it's okay. Let's get through a little bit, and we'll go down and shoot, and we'll play some game or something. And you get through that. But on the other side of it, I'm not staring down the parent, but I'm like if he doesn't want to come and skate on the treadmill, don't force it. It's not a program. It's not an after school care, right? This is an after part of hockey that, if they want to do it, like, let them do it, all right, and guide them through that. And I think that was one of the guiding principles when we started, is that hockey shouldn't cost the family another mortgage. It shouldn't be, hey, you shouldn't have to remortgage your house to pay for hockey. So making hockey attainable, making camps affordable, making things that, high end stuff. Like I would say that when we do our practices and our camps, it's high tempo, it's good skill development. No, I'm not the best in the world. I'm not going to even come close to some of the other names out there, but you know, we're doing the same things.
Yeah.
We're installing the same principles. We've learned at the same location, same people. We're all doing relatively the same thing. Because
Totally.
I talk to all of my athletes. I'm like, have you done this? Then you've done this, right? If you've done this, you've done this guy's camp. Okay, we're all teaching the same things with small tweaks or whatever. So there are those things, let them do it, like guide them and do it. And so if it's something you want to do, like I said, our guiding principle has always been to make it attainable for anybody to be able to do it. So
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's one of the principles with Rebellion Hockey is that when it comes to spring hockey, we're about as cheap as it comes. And just like you, it doesn't mean you're sacrificing any development or any level. It's just, we're trying to make it affordable. And you're right. We don't want people to have to, sell a kidney to keep their kid on the ice and do a little bit extra. And unfortunately, there's programs out there that are expensive, and I won't knock them because they do good work, but they can be expensive, and not everybody is willing to throw in those dollars.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we're coaching and developing humans.
Yeah.
We're not coaching and developing NHL players, because last time I checked, they don't sign an NHL contract out of
That's
Adam,
right.
or Pee-wee, or Bantam, or really the midget, right? We're developing people, and we're guiding and coaching those people. And I know for a fact, like everybody knows the statistic, right? It's 99.1%
Yeah.
people aren't going to make the NHL out of the kids that are playing hockey.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's about character, it's about development, it's about coming and working hard and putting things in. Like if you want to get a goal, like I had a player this last summer. His goal was to make the Bantam AA team.
Okay.
He came to me at Bantam Tier 4, and he's like, I want to make the Bantam AA team. He came 3 times a week. He put in the work. He tried, and he went out and he sent me a message on Instagram. He's like, hey, just so you know, I made the team. Thanks.
Awesome.
I really appreciate it. And it's that stuff that is like, that is the reason we do it, right? That is the definite reason. And it doesn't get much better than those ones, right?
Yeah, that's great. That's right. You're trying to build good people, and for those that want to make themselves better, then you're there to help them, right?
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap up with some hockey stories. Now we were joking before about this isn't the spit and chiclet, so we try to keep them on side, and everybody has some good hockey stories that are maybe left for over a beer, but we'll have some fun ones here.
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about these today when I was on the golf course. I'm like, man, I had to think of a story that and. You know what? It ended actually when I was talking with my buddy and his wife before I left or whatever, and she was talking about, oh, the kids, they left his water bottle in his bag, and I was everything soaked, and I'm like, all the kids are the same. Like, you got to know all kids are the same. And then I got thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I was one of those kids too, and you were one of those kids, and drove your parents crazy or whatever. And
Totally.
I remember my very first year of hockey was Tom Thumb, and I don't know why I remember this so vividly, but I was playing at the Archie Miller Arena, and I don't know if you know what the Archie Miller Arena, the Archie Miller Arena in Lloydminster. It was a natural ice rink. It was on.
Oh, really?
It was natural ice rink. It was one of the coldest barns you'd ever find, but it was an old barn. Like it was
chicken wire.
Yeah. And my uncle was my coach, and he was coaching me and my cousin, and we had some god awful Whalers color jerseys. I don't know why I remember this stuff. It's just, it is. And I had borrowed equipment from my cousin. My cousin lived in Estevan, my mom's nephews or whatever, my mom's kid's brother's son. And I had borrowed equipment from him because he had started hockey already. We're the same size, whatever. So I
Okay.
was playing my first year of hockey in Lloydminster, and my uncle told me, he said, "You Brett, go stand in front of the net. Like when the puck is there, you go stand in front of that." You know what I did for an entire shift? I
Sam
stood in front of the net.
just stood there.
I just stood there. I skated down the other end. I stood right in front of the net. Yep, that was it. So if you can
Beautiful.
imagine,
Yeah.
I played high level hockey,
Yeah.
and where everything else, right? I was that kid too. Like we all started.
Yeah.
We're all there, and kids need grace, right? They need a
Yeah.
lot of grace. They don't need more parents screaming at them. They don't need. Sometimes they need a kick in the pants,
Yep.
but
Yep.
they need a lot of guidance and a lot of encouragement and going through of everything that they go through on a daily basis. So that was one, and
Yeah.
I remember fun stories, dressing room stuff like
Those
there.
are all the big stories are the dressing room.
Yeah, the dressing room. If you ever listen to Gretzky or to Brett Sutter, like they all the Sutters, they all have stories, like some incredible stories about just life and dressing rooms and hanging out with guys and just the friendships that you build. And that's, I think, the biggest part of it. I mean, I remember when we were in the Keystone Cup and we were 23-0. We won all of our provincials. We won all the playoffs.
23 and oh wow.
We didn't lose when we started playoffs. We didn't lose one game. We
Wow.
swept through everybody, all through Saskatchewan, and then made it to the Keystone, and we didn't lose a game. We lost one game at the Keystone, and it was an eye opener for us. And eventually we were sitting there, and it was on my birthday. So it was my birthday weekend, and she was, I don't want to call her a mascot, but she was our team person, and her name was Grandma Dynamite.
Oh, that's
And
quite a name.
she if you Google it, it's actually, she was a firecracker. She came to every one of our games. She dressed in hockey equipment. She wore a helmet, and every time we'd score, she'd run up and down and flick her
Nice.
clapper, and so she actually came with us on the bus. Like we brought her to the Keystone Cup. We were in Brandon, and I remember sitting there, and we were having supper or whatever, and they all started singing happy birthday, and they brought me out a cake, and Grandma Dynamite got up and she gave me a big kiss.
Big birthday kiss.
Yeah, big birthday kiss, and ended up that night the next day actually we won the Keystone. So it's again,
Nice.
memories, you don't know why you remember that stuff, but it's stuff that
Yeah.
is that you hold on to, and you hope that in years to come you get a few more good memories and dressing rooms. And I know a lot of parents, like they said, like, you rush your kid out of a rink sometimes, and it's like, you know what, just let them sit there. That is the best thing they can have. That is the thing they go for. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's some of the highlights of my career is just stuff that happens in the dressing room after the fact. The
Yeah.
guys that you get to know, and yeah, it's the good stuff.
Do your kids like the dressing room time?
Oh man, my kid's the last one out of the dressing room all the time. Like it's painful. We have Emery, my middle one. He's got friends, twins, and they're like out of the dressing room within 5 minutes. So they really don't like when they have to take Emery, because Emery is like
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes later, he's like finally strolling out, second to last guy out, and
Yeah.
they enjoy the sitting around and hanging out. So
Sounds like my son. He's always the one of the last three. Lots
yeah.
of he's yeah, he's the funny guy in the dressing room, the glue guy.
Everybody needs them, right? And
Yeah.
you know what? Those are the things they're going to remember. They're not going to remember the whatever shift or whatever you yelled at them about. They're not going to remember that. They're going to remember hanging out with their friends or scoring a goal, or something you may take for granted. And this is for all players. Like if they ever get to play in minor hockey week, like I've coached I guess since it's almost 10 years, over 10 years now, and on every kid and every team, and every time we get into minor hockey week, I asked them, I said, who here has won minor hockey week? And one hand goes up.
Yeah.
and maybe another one. It's like, it is a big tournament, and it's fun,
Totally.
and I love it. And we were fortunate enough to win once with Mark, and it was awesome, and
Yeah.
it was in Pee-wee, and I still remember those kids, and the way that we won, and one-on-one and overtime at St.
Oh
Albert, and it
yeah,
was
nice.
awesome, right? And
Yeah,
it's just the thing that you remember, and Mark still talks like this. Those are the things. And
totally.
I had a coach that played in minor hockey week, so he was one of my assistant coaches, and he's like, guys, I played in minor hockey week. I didn't get to win minor hockey week till midget. I
Oh
remember it like it was yesterday. And it's those things. He's 45 years old. Like,
yeah, yeah,
it's one of those, it's a big deal, and to allow your kids to enjoy those moments, and remind them, and take pictures, and do everything you
totally.
can with them, right? It's the good stuff.
This is another thing to look forward to for the next season here coming up.
Oh man, I can't wait. I'm
Yeah,
really excited to
totally.
get past this here, June 10th or whatever we're going to get into, and then
Yeah, yeah.
move in through summer, and having everybody back to the facility, and working and training. And
So can you open up on June 10th?
yes, yeah, we
Okay.
can open up on June 10th.
So you're booking appointments already?
They're open, yeah.
Yeah.
The booking link is open, yeah. So we're just letting it stay open. So hopefully here by
Okay.
that time, and then with any luck, when we push past that June 28th milestone, and whatever other milestone they've got
And wide
for us,
open.
we're wide open, and
Yeah.
let's get on with it, right?
So where can they find where can they find you? What's the web
So
address?
the web address is revolutionhockeytraining.com. It's a big title, but RHT was already taken. So I wish it would have stayed, but
Yeah.
so yeah, Revolution Hockey Training. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, or not Twitter, I guess. Facebook, Instagram, and then we have an app. So if you
Oh,
go
okay.
onto Revolution Hockey Training on your phone, so if you go to the website on your phone, it'll ask you to switch to the app. You can download the app, and you can book everything through our app now.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
it's awesome.
simple then.
Yeah, everything can be done through the app. You don't have to worry about paying or doing anything at the shop. You just do everything through the app, and
Online. Nice.
everything books in with us. So
Easier for you and easier for everybody else.
it's easier. It is the easiest, actually. Is I got a comment about that here today, how easy it was, and
Okay.
it's so much better than it was before. I'm like, let's keep it going.
Yeah. And then obviously you run the on ice training. Is there still room in your camps?
Yep, there's that's all kind of opened up here again. We shut everything down because it was kind of like,
I guess you don't know what's happening.
We don't want to take a whole bunch of money in, and then have that
It's
refund,
reimbursed.
and everybody kind of like, whoa, what's going on, and asking questions. But yeah, no, everything is again through the app. They're all loaded on the app, and they're all loaded on the website. You can choose which kind of camps you want, from Bantam, or I guess it would be Pee-wee and Bantam, so U13 and U15, U18, AA, AAA prep camps. So we do run a little bit higher end, a little bit quicker pace stuff with more contact and whatnot for those kind of prep camps. And then
Okay.
a body checking camp, so intro to body checking, and then U11, U13, U15 power skating, and read and react training. So sort of like that.
So lots to choose from, Jacob.
Lots to choose from, and then you can go treadmill, or you can do the rapid shot, which we just brought in. So we have a rapid shot system now in the facility, and the rapid hands, and then you book the gym if you want to.
So I saw that on Instagram. That looks pretty cool.
It's addicting. I gotta say, it's addicting, because once you get in there and someone beats your score, you gotta beat your score again. So
like the old school arcade game where your name was in the score and try to beat the
yeah.
Nice.
So my new high score is 645. So that's my benchmark, is 645. Okay. And Robin has said to me that she's going to hire someone to beat my score. So she's going to put her name in that spot, and then they're going to shoot for her, and so she can have the high score. Like whatever.
That sounds great. Yeah, that's funny. Great.
Awesome.
Well, thanks again for hopping on here, and we'll have all those contact information somewhere around this video, and yeah, reach out to him. Tune into some of his social media, and look into his camps. We'll be paying a visit. Like I said, I haven't visited the new location, so we'll pay a visit here in June once everything's opened up, and we'll enjoy that.
Sounds good. Awesome.
All right. And so stay tuned, guys. There's more great episodes coming up, some other great hockey personalities and service providers. So until then, we'll catch you later.